message here. The globalists are not going to give us quarter. They are not going to back off. This is a hot tyranny. And in military parlance, that means it's an aggressive, in-your-face, total domination system. The elites have bragged, we've read their quotes, written constant articles about it, that they studied all the dictatorships and control systems of the world, and that they decided to go with a pharmacological drugging of the water supply and food, covertly, overtly pushing drugs, over-the-counter and illegal and prescription, to bathe you in an entertainment distraction system, to basically also divide and conquer populations, and to bring in a tyrannical world government to incrementally shut off resources and then heavily social engineer the societies into total and complete collapse, and then phases of ratcheted up controlled bioweapon release that then result in 80 to 90% population reduction. And that's Rockefeller Foundation, that's Eric Pianka, that's Ted Turner, Prince Philip, Prince Charles, Jacques Cousteau, Club of Rome, Bilderberg. I've made films, I've written articles, I've linked to the Rockefeller Foundation, and I'm sorry if that sounds like you woke up in a science fiction nightmare movie. We're not in 1950 anymore. Think about the point we've gotten to in this society, where you're simply covering the fact that the police are grabbing people's cell phones without warrants, downloading the contents, putting GPS on tens of thousands of people's cars, dialing in and listening to our phone conversations without a warrant via federal law on the regulations. Not that they can do it under law, but that the regulations say all the cell phones are designed to do that. You understand that? And it just goes on and on and on with hundreds of examples, government completely out of control. I saw a report just last week where, and actually Randy Kelton predicted this, where 46 states' attorney generals are making deals with the big banks. And in the deals, they're forgiving them for all the stuff they've stolen, because that's their political bosses, and actually changing the state laws and state regulations so they're allowed to steal your house. It's like, oh my gosh, you really have been stealing everything. People are upset about this. The law says it's illegal. We'll just claim we're taking you to the woodshed and we're going to publicly slap you on the wrist. But once we get around the woodshed, we're going to let you basically politically rape and financially rape the public some more. We're going to have the public tied down around the back, okay? You're not supposed to have a thought. You're supposed to be programmed by the television, and that's it. So all this stuff I got made fun of back when I had the government documents and did the research and all of our sources gave us the intel, oh, it wasn't real then. The Marines weren't training to take our guns. They weren't training for civil unrest. Now it's all admitted all over the news. Oh, they're not going to have checkpoints, federal checkpoints in the middle of the country. That's you're a conspiracy theorist. Really, here's the Department of Transportation document. I'm not going to look at that nutcase. Well, here's the document. They want to take blood at the DMVs. Now they're starting to roll that out in several states. They're like, oh, that doesn't exist. Now that it exists and is in everyone's face, their answer is, are you schizophrenic? I mean, I guess as you're marching into a pit to be shot in the back of the head by Soviets or by the Nazis, did they, please don't shoot me in the head. Shut up, conspiracy theorist. This isn't even a gun. Boom. I mean, it's like some weird trance that people are under. Bernays wrote about this. Department of War was actually hired in the 20s to break up the family. They said the families are too strong. We can't lower American education level. We got to defeat these people. And he wrote books about this. You can go read it. Propaganda and others. We need you to break up the family. How are you going to do it? And he said, well, we'll tell women it's stylish to have lots of sexual partners. And we'll tell men it's stylish, and we'll have leaders we pay that are seen as cool call for feminism, and they'll march and smoke cigarettes, because then you can sell cigarettes to them as well and make some money as a side issue. And he said thousands of things that they implemented and totally got. And he said, then that way you'll get your goal of having the women all working too, so that they can pay double taxes, and so the state will raise the kids. That is your goal, correct? And they had these big conferences with all the German psychiatrists there. Skull and Bones actually set all that up and funded that in the 1830s, 1840s. When tyranny's going on at an early stage, people will deny it because it's scary and they're lazy. They don't want to do anything about it. But when it becomes overt and obvious, a lot of people don't really get into denial. They get into another form of denial. They decide to just shut up and keep quiet and go along with it. Some decide to just try to stay out of it and sit on the fence. Others decided to join with it. Others decide to try to go along with it. And well, maybe I can have some of this power. If you can't beat them, join them. As if you can make a deal with Hitler or the devil or Mao Zedong. Statistically, that's even more dangerous, I found. This system hates its own. Number one threat, they say, returning veterans. Number two, it's not in the documents they give cops, but I've confirmed from my intelligence sources, they say I'm dead on. Cops are actually even higher. The average cop is under total Pentagon surveillance. I mean, you guys literally have got magnifying glasses on you. And they think as you learn about this, you're going to be cowards and watch what you say and do. You've done nothing wrong. You aren't a criminal. Stop acting like you're a criminal. I mean, government, from what I've read and seen, I saw a police chief admit a few years ago that it was Baltimore, that they wear black uniforms to intimidate people and mask. Well, they have to understand it's not intimidating most people. Sure, some sheeple it does. It's making people hate you. It's making people see you as a threat, and then you act like one. And then you act like somebody in Nazi Germany. And so the opposite is happening. It's actually getting people out of their catatonic stupor. I mean, as long as the globalists were just siphoning off money and doing all these corrupt things and launching foreign wars and hiding the coffins, this could have gone on for a long time. But the fact that they want to squat on us and spit in our faces and boss us around all day, it's having the opposite effect. The police are pulling people over, grabbing their cell phone without a warrant, plugging into a system that hacks through their code, downloads everything in a minute. All over the country. Marines are running checkpoints from Alabama to California. They're setting up Homeland Security checkpoints, pulling people out of their cars randomly. They've got Viper teams going on trains and buses and actually saying, face forward, show me your ID now, and literally screaming at people that don't do it right. I mean, we're being inducted like people showing up at a supermax prison where they're putting child killers. This is how child killers getting out of the prison are treated. Line up over there. You know why you're here. I mean, this is hardcore indoctrination. This is America going under. And now there's calls to censor the web, internet kill switches, EAS takeovers. It's all coming to the head. They've been building this army against us behind the scenes. And I'm on air just talking about how they're spying on us without warrants and how it's wrong. And the Supreme Court is going to rule if they can spy on everybody without warrants and put GPS on your car without a warrant. And they admit it's on tens of thousands of cars. That's what the local police alone have ordered. And they can use your cell phones to do it. And this is now admitted that I said Facebook says, you know, our users are dumb effers. Ha, 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 they trust us. And her response to me is, so what do you say to people that say you're a schizophrenic? Now they're announcing all over the country, FEMA, Homeland Security, TSA run checkpoints. It's all over the news now. It took them a long time. But the point is they were getting ready, getting geared up a long time ago. I mean, in the late 90s, I went to urban warfare drill after drill and witnessed Marines training to go door to door and take our guns and admit it was for America. And I'd show people the video. And back then, you weren't supposed to see that. And so I got threats from the military. All sorts of stuff went on. The public wasn't ready. So they said, this must be fake. Again, the Coronado landing, hovercraft landing, troops taking over part of Oakland, foreign troops. Rick Linklater said he had people tell him it must be fake when he gave him copies of Police State 2000. And he laughed and said, this would cost me, you know, 25, 30, 40, $50 million to do this, you know, to show ships like this landing. And again, it was real places. It was news articles on top of it showing it was real, but people were in denial. Now there's been the preconditioning, so they go, sure, I told folks 13 years ago they were putting microphones and cameras hidden inside power transformers and light poles, and they laughed at me, even though I had the purchase orders and the federal regulations. I even showed folks where they were going up in Austin. And people would call into the show and say, you're insane. And I'd say, no, here's the company. Here's the $800-something thousand first purchase. And then it goes up to $2 million next year in Austin. And each successive year, they got license plate reading cameras, face scanning cameras. Microphones are up in every neighborhood, in every major park. They're all hooked into the Stinking Threat Fusion Center. The average cop in there doesn't even know that. It's just rolled in. Oh, did you know about these functions? Let us show you these functions. They can dial in to your cell phone live time and listen to you. That's leaked out. The average cop on the beat doesn't know that. It's all need to know. I mean, it makes 1984 look like child's play. So, see, they're now just getting ready to tell the slaves. But here's a clip from Police State 2000.
It's not just armor that local law enforcement, from state agencies to local police departments, are getting. No, my friends, it's listening devices. Of course, the excuse is to find the location of gunshots, but the designers openly admit it can also be used to listen to your conversations and triangulate your position. Just consciously think about this for a second. Listening devices. And I almost forgot, in tandem with cameras, all federal funding. Repeat, all federal. Armored personnel carriers, helicopters, foreign troops, practicing with local police, with our military. And in Austin, Texas, and many other cities I've visited, I have noticed that many of the cameras aim into the neighborhoods. I'm not kidding.
And by the way, if you're a new listener, I'm not joking about this. I'm not joking. In the same film, we cut to FEMA in Kansas City. In 2000, a firefighter sent us a huge room of cops, firefighters, and they're like, the #1 terrorist is George Washington. And the men are like, that's right, that's him. He's the one. Who else is a terrorist? Thomas Jefferson? Good job. And it's this military top guy up there going, and these people are the enemy, and they're here today. They believe in what they're doing. It's all these rednecks going, right, we're going to get them. And I was sent 17 hours of this. I was sent 3 days of it. And so these cops and then they pull over a woman, and they're like, she's got one of them constitutions. Meanwhile, they've sworn an oath to that, Michael. How did they get the police to literally be scared of George Washington? And again, they've announced they're going to start taking over internet with just constant announcements and videos that the feds have said will break in on your phone call or your web surfing. You'll have to look at Obama, look at Hillary, look at Mitt Romney. I mean, whoever's coming down the road. You won't look at Ron Paul. He'd never do something like that. And now telescreens at Walmarts and Mall of America with big sis saying, watch your neighbors, only trust us. Now, they've got all these Homeland Security videos branding white conservatives as the terrorist. It's amazing. Yeah, go ahead and turn it up.
Flipping the channel. It's everywhere. The system was set up by President Harry Truman back in 1951 as a top-down chain of communication for civil defense, but he never used it. In fact, the system was only activated nationwide once, by accident, back in 1971, warning television stations to prepare for an announcement from the White House. The emergency alert system is primarily used for severe weather warnings. Again, this is only a test. That was only a test. And this is America Live. That was fun. Fox News alert now. Iran vowing no retreat.
Look, they didn't even do it.
That suggests it.
They didn't even do it on Fox, but she said it was coming. It was all edited and ready. These people are insane. And notice, oh, Harry Truman did it. No, that would be one local station that during an emergency, the signal went out and other stations would tune to it. Now, because of communication, this only allows dictatorship and control. It's going to be citizens on the ground. They're going to be able to report what's really happening. But that way, if something started coming out the government doesn't want, they hit one button and they admit it's internet, it's cell phones, it's everything. This test is of cable, UHF, VHF. What'd you say, Jaron? Okay, back near it's back. So she just said the test was there, but it wasn't. And I've got my crew, and they're recording it on radio in places where it's happening. And again, you've always heard this before, but just since '96 did they have it where the government could do it themselves, but they always sent out pre-signals to make sure you had it hooked up. Then the board operator would flip over to that channel when it went live. That's that only a test thing. And in the future, it's going to be guns are evil. We're looking for this homeless person. This person's a terrorist. They admit that license plates are going to have it. They're going to be digital computer screens and show you wanted people, like something out of Minority Report.
The test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. The message you are hearing is part of a nationwide live code test of emergency alert system capabilities.